in keeping with today's weather, which is lousy, more rain, and in anticipation of the old men riding badly on bikes, cycle society in the morning, and assuming we can actually get away, so we won't go off in the rain, I'm too old for that, we will go along the River Wandle, and there's a part of it that's by Tooting and Mitcham Football Club, for those that you know. They haven't connected up the path, the new cycle and pedestrian path, from Watermeads to the bit they've opened up. It's about 60-70 yards of unmade mud, which they fill in with wood chips and aggregate and stuff just to keep the water and mud at bay, make it a bit safer for us. And it leads on to a newly opened piece of the river, which was administered by owned by the National Trust. It's been a lovely addition to us walkers and cyclists. And I'm just going to have a go at painting it again, the muddy bits alongside the river. You can't see the river from that little bit. So it's going to be wet in wet on Fabriano, £130, with lemon yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine, burnt umber, Payne's grey and burnt sienna. So I'm going to wet the paper all over. You can use a spray if you wish, but easy with the brush. Fabriano is inexpensive, this £130 you can buy it from Curtis Ward or from Grantham's Art Discount. It's very good for this sort of wet in wet, but it's not too forgiving. And I know some of you are struggling with the 45mm or 2 inch, less than 2 inch hake, but it's worth the heartache and the frustration, because it does so many things. It's a wonderful brush, and as you know, I basically demonstrate the Ron Ranson technique with the exception of using slightly dried paint rather than straight out of the tube. I got fed up with throwing Kate's paint away that I didn't use, but this way I can put it in a Ziploc bag, thanks to Maria Kellner who came up with the idea, and give it a spray before I put it in so that it stays workable. I've squeezed out some new paint anyway, so that will be a bit soft and soggy, but we won't worry about that. Right, okay, so we'll going to put a bit of a background in. So just a bit of background. I will put a bit of alizarin. The problem you have with the hake is that it holds too much water. The other is that it sheds a few hairs when they're new. And third is that it splits. But by dipping it in water, you can usually bring it back together again quite easily. So just I'm going to put trees over all this anyway, so I've got the board at a jaunty 10 degrees, 15 degrees, almost flat, so I don't usually work so at such a shallow angle, but let's just put just a bit of mud in there. That's a reflection. Quite a bit of texture going in on there. Put a little bit of raw sienna, burnt sienna in the background there as well. Oh, it's a bit muddy. And a bit of burnt sienna with a bit of ultramarine. A lot of summer greens. I just put that blue in just to give a bit of a bit of indication that we're in summer. You wouldn't believe it, it's like winter at the moment. And there's a bit of light coming through here, a bit of grass. It's drying quite quickly. Wouldn't think so, would you, with the weather? But let's just lift out some of this with the finger. And we'll put in a canopy on the other side. Need some plenty of green in there, so burnt sienna, bit of ultramarine, and we'll get some darker green, more solid. See, if your paint's too dry, you can't get enough of it to make a sort of an impact on the paper. It's too weak. Now let's go in with, I'm trying to keep away from Payne's grey at the moment. Let's just put in some warmer. Get some dark in there. Look, I'm using almost tube paint here. There is a metal fence along here, but I'm not going to put it in. Really, we're just painting wet in wet. It's like a sort of woodland scene, which it is. I'll put some more heavier, thicker trees in, but I want to just get some background in there. So nice bluey, alizarin-y green. So let's just more blue. Okay. Now we've got to do the texturing now. So burnt sienna, a bit of burnt umber now, and a bit of Payne's grey. Get the brush back together. This is supposed to be mud now. Just all sort of mud and a bit of grass on the edge. It's a very well worn path though. There's no grass on it other than either side because nobody really walks there other than dog walkers. Okay, let's get some good dark in there. See, as the paper dries, you can put your heavier texture over. Right, get this in here, some warmer, darker, richer colours, more detail. A lot of sparkle in this because we are mixing puddles with with the mud. Now put some grass in here. It's almost pure lemon yellow mixed with other bits and pieces. Now texturing these clumps of muddy bits. Okay. I'm going to put a bit of a greeny wash in that, just to you'll see the brush is split. Just dip the tips in water and it comes back together again. It's just a bit too much sparkle in this, so we'll just paint some wash in. Okay, now we want some more dark in this, so Payne's Grey and burnt umber. Use all the brush, not just the flats, use the corners. Then you can flick out all sorts of brushy stuff in here. Just add some thick paint in there, just to add to the wash. The wet wash is underneath. Right, that's see, my brush is coated with thick, soft paints now. But if you do choose to use the paint straight from the tube, you'll need a much bigger tray to work on, and that's how I used to do it. That was old Ron Ranson's method. Right, now we want to texture some of this now, so some nice you can stipple this, but to do that you need to dry the brush so that it's split, all the hairs go in different directions, and then you can dip it in the paint and get some nice greeny, yellowy richness. And I'll put some shadow colour at the top. All to the angle of your brush, otherwise it will look a bit stilted. I've got some bigger trees to put in there. Same over here. And then we'll put the shadowy colours in. It's sort of a very dark green now. Probably overdone it, but right, now I reckon we can start to put in some trunks in there now. So we'll have, I'll just clean the palette. we'll go over that now with some burnt umber, burnt sienna and ultramarine. I'll give a good grey for the trees. I usually do use those colours. If you use a different manufacturer's paint, you'll find that some of the pigments are slightly different. I like the Winsor & Newton because the burnt sienna is dark. Others are much lighter than that and don't give the same effects. There's a difference between Winsor & Newton and other colours, or in that range anyway. I'm not saying all colours, but from experience and preference, I prefer Winsor & Newton, but in particular the burnt sienna. Right, now, so ultramarine and burnt sienna will give us a sort of a nice tree grey, but we want it fairly thick. Thicker than that. You see that? See, the hake is very good for this. Now we've got the light coming from the right. I can do some of this with a rigger. So I want the dark on the right, on the left side of the tree. Nice rich paint here, so let's get that. I'll put more detail on this with the rigger. Just thicken this up a little bit. Whoops. Okay, we've got another one here. Don't want to put too many in. Let's just get one closer to the back of that one. We don't want a regiment of trees all looking the same, because it'll look very stilted. This is easier to do than using a round brush, and it gives a sort of a random feel to it. Now let's get a real good dark bit on there, on the left hand side. We can let that sort of, let's get another one here. Well, a bit of work in there. Let's just get this a bit bluer. Give a bit of aerial perspective, which means using colour to suggest distance. Blue now. Okay, so we've got a forest in there now. Right, so that'll do for that. Let's bring one of these. Let's bring this one down into here. Get a nice, rich, dark paint on there. Separate it from the background one. And I'll do some bigger work in there. Right, we'll do the same over here. Bit more water, just a touch. Keep it all nice and thick. Get really thick dark here. I can blotch it out. Okay, let's get some bluer ones. Okay, we could do this forever, couldn't we? But for the sake of the demo, we'll let's bring down there. Right, let's get some dark. Just add some texture to the ground here, just to lose the bases of the base of the trees and the shadow there. You can just sort of flick out a bit. Just go over some of that. Still try and preserve the freshness of this while putting detail in. And we'll put in some bit of warm bushy stuff here. I'll get that a bit higher in there. Okay, so there we are. Sort of got a watercolour for a Monday morning, considering how depressing the weather is. Well, a bit of rigger work now and then we'll finish. Really finished with the paints. We're painting for the session. Clean the brush, of course, and just squeeze it out and bring it to a nice shape. Keep all the hairs together. Don't leave it all smashed up because it's your tool. Just pull out the loose hairs. Come on. Right, so it's nice and chisel edged. So I can lay that aside and go in with the rigger. Just some little dark bits, little flicks. Don't want to do too much of this. Let's put some little thin bits of twiggy, branchy stuff. Some little twigs coming down, have some branches coming down as well. Just little bits of flicks, so some on the other side. I might give this a final dry and a little blot. Just add a little bit of detail in the background here. Well, that'll do. Let's give it. I'll dry it off now. So take your headphones off while I do this. If you don't want your ears blasted. I got told off because I didn't tell anybody that I was going to do it. Right, ready, go. Right, now we'll, with a bit of tissue paper, so that's going to be our blotter. So dip the hake back in the water and just, because we're, I hope that works. Not sure if that's going to work very well, but no, I'm not quite so happy with that. Just try and put the light side of the trunks in. I might have to go back on the other side of that, and just because it's just a little bit. Oh, well, not too bad. Well, you get the idea what I'm trying to do here. Just right, I'll just go back and put some colour back. No, that's not quite worked. The easiest way to do that, but you really need to work flat is to wet the tree first where you're going to put it, and then put the colour in one side and let it bleed from, say, left to right or right to left. Right, well, I'm going to let that go. So do what I said with my brush, just squeeze it out, shape it nice and flat, put a signature on it, and then we'll put it in a mount, and then we'll see. Whoop. Clean jeans. Be nice and dark. Okay, mount. I might have to alter the angle of the board, but this is another trip down the Wandle, River Wandle. Put that there. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'll bring you around and wind down. I don't know. No, that's all right. So there we are. I could put some figures in here. This part here represents. Well, no, we're walking away from that bit, aren't we? We're walking back. We're walking north. No, that's okay. Right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Bye bye.